Yes, Buffpup potentially talked about the Sinder situation on one of her streams, and I'm here to talk about that in this video. Now, this video is going to have chapters, and everything covered in the video has already been covered, just bringing attention to the fact that Buffpup may have potentially talked about the Sinder situation on one of her streams. Now, this video is going to be very heavily biased versus all the other videos, because I'm going to be making large leaps in logic to even come to half, if not all, the conclusions I'll be making in this video. So, let's get this party started by going to the VOD on Buffpup's Twitch channel, where she potentially talks about the Sinder situation. Now, for some context, an anonymous source reached out to me and said, hey, Buffpup may have potentially talked about the Sinder situation on this VOD, the 4 heart emotes DOGGY APARI hashtag VCHIBAN VOD, that came out yesterday on July 22nd, 2025, so that's where it was, and if you want to see it for yourself, let's see here. Yeah, last live yesterday, this one was yesterday, it's right there, yesterday. And this video is being recorded on July 23rd, 2025, so July 22nd, 2025, as far as I understand. So, there's that. And so apparently around the 57-minute 51-second mark, or the 58-minute 12-second mark, Buffpup starts talking about something, and it sounds like she's referencing the Sinder situation.
I think if somebody was to release the Black Book, I think it would affect a lot of people's jobs, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to affect people's jobs. I think everybody just wants to be cordial and just, it's like going to an office and then being like, oh, hey, I don't like Joe Schmo over there, but like, I'm going to be cordial and like work with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I think a lot of this stuff doesn't get said until the person is ready to say it. And I don't want to bring up this situation because it still is affecting a lot of us. But, you know, with the fire VTuber that happened recently, a lot of us didn't say anything until the person who was affected said something. And we all went to said person and said, hey, what do you want to do? And they said, I want to do this. And we said, okay, girl, like, you go do that. And we'll be here to support it. So it's just kind of like, a lot of people don't say anything until that person. And I love that about the VTuber community, because I think that respecting your coworkers and friends is very important.
Okay, so this is where I say potentially talks about the Sinder situation, because she mentions the situation and then the fire VTuber. But what's interesting is the last part of that statement that she said, where she says, we went up to the person that's affected and asked her or them what they want to do, and they said, I want to do this. And then Buffpup proceeds to say, okay, we'll support you then. So this statement is very vague, so there are multiple interpretations of it, so let me just go ahead and put my tinfoil hat on and give my personal biased opinion on that. To me, personally, that sounds like they were already set on dogpiling against Sinder, if they are talking about the Sinder situation, assuming that's the case, and it sounds like it to me personally. It just sounds like they were just ready to dogpile, because they said, we'll support you. We'll support you, not, oh, let's go and try and mediate this stuff. But hey, that's up for interpretation. I'm interpreting this this way because of my personal bias, so I could be wrong about that, but it's just interesting that she mentions that, because, the person that was affected, interesting. And I'm very biased with Buffpup because, mind you, she is the same person that mentioned this about Sinder's apology.
To say I'm disappointed is like such a light word. I'm grossed out. Like, really, I just feel not good. I feel icky. I feel like the insides of me are like tar. I feel gross, and I'm pretty livid about this stuff. For her to post a block of text where 3/4 of it is just explaining her side, aka PR move. And then the first I'm sorry is 5 pages down. It's fucking pathetic. Stupid, dude. I can't believe it. I'm just shocked. If she would have said, I'm sorry, I fucked up, I'll see you guys later, that would have been better than what I saw. Okay, so.
All right, so before I continue about that statement that was made on this Twitch VOD, I want to address this real quick, because she says something about Sinder's apology being, like, bad. She essentially just said the Sinder's apology bad. By the way, you can see this video on YouTube, and it's called Buffpup Just Couldn't Believe It After Reading Sinder's Apology by the YouTube channel Tatsubaki-san. And it's 22 seconds in that she starts railing Sinder's apology, basically. But the thing here is that, I'm projecting now, it feels very disingenuous for Buffpup to say that. I will say, PR move? Sure, okay, fine, I'll give it to you. I mean, technically she's promoting herself by posting it on X on her, you know, X account, so okay, fine, I'll give it to you. Well, it's PR, but I just want to point out that even if it's PR, she literally takes the time to say, there's nothing I can say to make this better, but I'll try my best to probably convey my feelings, frustration, and mistakes. I'd like to explain my point of view and apologize to each party affected. So, like, also, there's more than just 3 blocks of text. Like, there's, like, tons of blocks of text, first off. I will say that Buffpup is right, the first sorry is on the 5th page of this apology. But the fact of the matter remains that she took the time to explain herself and then apologize to the parties affected, and then to address what Buffpup said before I paused the video. It would have been better if she said, sorry, I messed up, and then left. That would be better. I want to put this in perspective, everybody. Sinder did that. So, Sinder apologized to the parties affected, obviously. So, Bao, Sacramore, Cottontail VA, Shylily, Silvervale, Spite, Bam, Peaches, Rain, the Pyro Pups, Mods, VTuber community. She apologized to everyone, and then she left. What do you mean, Godfred? No, like, she left. And I can bring up Sinder's Twitch stats for that. Hello, welcome to StreamCharts.com. This is StreamCharts' statistics of Sinder, and oh, look at that. Sinder activity. Her last stream was at April 26, 2025, and she's been radio silent since. So she literally did what Buffpup said. She apologized and then left. She did what Buffpup wanted. So just saying. But yeah, I just wanted to address that because that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm biased and all that crazy stuff. And remember, I'm making large leaps in logic to make the conclusions in this video. So back to the main topic, which is the statement that Buffpup made on her VOD that was streamed on July 22nd, 2025, about how, hey, we went up to the person affected and asked them what to do. Okay, here's the thing that interested me. Alright, so let's go to Shylily's VOD real quick. Shylily states this, and it's about how Nanoless showed her the direct messages of the convo between her and Redacted, and Shylily says this.
I'm thankful for you showing this to me, but I highly encourage you to share this with the people affected, especially Bao, because...
Okay, so the people affected. Now, who are the people affected? Based on the Google Docs and what I found on X, the people affected, as far as I know, are Nanoless, Bao, because... where was it? There was the whole Bao cancellation thing. To my knowledge, okay, so there's Bao. And then we go to the exclusivity deal. By the way, I stumbled upon this by happenstance. Apparently, Cottontail VA posted an uncensored screenshot of the convo that happened on January 15, 2025, specifically the 9 p.m. one. Because if you go to Nanoless's Google Doc, right, you can see that it's mostly censored. And then here, the only thing censored is Silvervale's name. So if you want to see the uncensored version of that segment of the screenshot, you go here. So now the knowledge of who was involved in this segment of the screenshot is revealed. Like, it's there. So Komori, Bao, Cotton, Silvervale, Nanoless, so those are the parties affected. So Shylily said that, right? So clearly someone was affected. And then they said they went up to the person affected and asked them what they want to do, and the person said they wanted to, here, another tinfoil hat on top of the tinfoil hat I'm already wearing, a public smearing campaign. Assuming that what Buffpup is talking about is the Sinder situation, it seems like, what did you want to do? Oh, let's go ahead and do a public smearing campaign. The best decision is to make Google Docs and post it on X for everyone to see and follow our narrative. By the way, I'm being very biased, but that's essentially what kind of just happened. So, with that being said, it sounds like that Buffpup knew about all of this beforehand. So when the docs dropped and the apology dropped, whoa, it's not like she was blindsided by it, right? It seems like she knew before the apology dropped. She knew before the docs were initially released. That's what it sounds like to me personally. The fact that she said, we didn't say anything until the person was affected. When the person was affected, we went up to them and asked, what do you want to do? And the person said, I want to do this. Followed by, okay, we'll support you, girl. Like, hold up. Shylily said to share it with the parties affected. Okay. Parties affected, Cotton, Nanoless, Bao, Silvervale. So as far as my knowledge goes, and my assumptions can go, those are the only 4 that knew? But then again, Sakuramore was included into this, so yeah, Sakuramore was involved with it, so there was also Sakuramore, because of the whole thing with the editor that Redacted said. And let me go ahead and pull that up in case you guys are like, no, he's pulling my leg. I need to bring that up. So, yeah, but Sakuramore was included. Sakuramore was mentioned. And it was in Bao's doc, so let me go ahead and pull that up. I didn't have that prepared. There it is. Let me go ahead and pull it up. So here on Bao's doc, yes, so Sakuramore was included. So it wasn't just Bao, Cotton, Silvervale, and Nanoless. Sakuramore was included as well. Sakuramore was mentioned. So it makes sense that Bao, Cotton, VA, Sakuramore, and Silvervale would speak out about that. Oh, and Spite was mentioned as well. So, like, the people that were mentioned, yeah. So, thing is that those were the people, like, affected, right? The people mentioned in the DMs here. People mentioned in the DMs between Redacted and Nanoless, right? Those were the party affected. Shylily said to share it with the parties affected, right? Okay. That's the case. So, if that's the case, then why did Buffpup say the phrase she did? The person was affected, so we went up to them and asked them what to do. To me personally, it sounds like Buffpup was in on this before the docs dropped, like I said earlier. It just sounds like it, based on how she phrased it here in her VOD, stating, again, the person was affected, we went up to the person affected. In fact, you know what, I'm just like paraphrasing it. Let's hear what she said again. Let's hear what she said again.
I don't like Joe Schmo over there, but like, and I don't want to, that happened recently. A lot of us didn't said, I want to do this. And we said, okay, girl, person who was affected said something. And we all went to said person and said, hey, what do you want to do? And they said, I want to do this. And we said, okay, girl, like, you go do that. And we'll be here to support it. So it's just kind of like.
Okay, so again, large leap in logic to reach this conclusion. It really sounds like not just the parties affected were informed, but it sounds like more than that was informed before the docs dropped. So, and like Buffpup said, they know a lot of stuff, they keep it to themselves, but sounds like they were already ready to dogpile on Sinder. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like they didn't even consider Cinder's side. It literally just sounds like, okay, what did you want to do? You want to do a public smearing campaign? All right, we'll support you, girl. No, like, all right, well, let's hear from the other side first. It was, we'll support you. That's what this whole thing sounds like to me. It sounds like the parties that were affected were not the only ones informed. It sounds like that other people were informed based on Buffpup's statement here in her VOD. So, that's the large leap in logic conclusion I've come to based off what I understand of the situation and what I just watched. So there is that. So what does that mean? What does that mean? And this is going to be for the conclusion portion. It means that I personally think heavily biased. Personally think. Another tinfoil hat on top of the 2 tinfoil hats I already have on. It sounds like Buffpup had a hand in this before the docs dropped, before the apology from Sinder even came out. It sounds like the parties that were informed based on what Shylily said and telling Nanoless to inform the people affected, it seems like the people affected weren't the only ones told before the docs dropped. It seems like the people that were affected plus more were informed before this whole coordinated attack thing happened on Sinder. And coordinated because Nanoless's doc dropped, then Sacramore's doc dropped, and then Bao's doc dropped, like around the same time. So, just saying, it sounds like the coordination was bigger than what I initially thought. But that's my personal biased conclusion. Now, with that being said, everything I used for the video will be in the description below. I encourage you, the viewer, to go to the source so that way you can come to your own independent conclusion.